Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Charles from the channel Books on Stereo, and I'm here today to give you guys a really exciting interview. I have the author, Meka James, on my channel. We're gonna be talking about all about her books, talking about probably one of my favorite books that she has written. Like, it's probably one of my favorite books of all time. I absolutely love this book. I'll keep you guys in suspense for what book that is, but Mika, my first question that I wanted to ask you is kind of like, how did you get into writing romance? Were you always a romance reader and you just decided, hey, I want to start telling my own stories?
Sorry about that.
No, you're completely fine. We live in the real world. We got dogs, we got things going on.
So I have been a romance reader. I started out as a romance reader. I never really thought about writing before, but I play a computer game called The Sims.
Oh yeah.
And in that community, there's what's known as Simlit. So you write stories that go with the game. You make
Listen.
your whole story, and it's illustrated because you use the pictures from the game. And
Mhm.
that's really where I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then from there, one of my first stories, my friends who read that story she was like, you should go into writing. And I was like, I didn't really think about it, but
Yeah.
he encouraged me. And that's what made me think, oh, maybe I can do this book thing. And so it's a lot different, but
Yeah.
that was how so I was a reader, then I wrote sort of like blog stories, and now I'm
Mhm. That's so cool. I know like there's like other authors that like are really big into Sims, so it's cool to see like how you kind of went from Sim Lit, which I have never heard of. Like I'm woefully underwhelmed in like the world of video games. I'm like that person that likes to watch other people play video games. I don't like to play. I'm like so weird. I'm like I'll have my cousin like, here, you play Halo. I just want to watch and critique everything that you're doing wrong.
Well, my kids will tell you I don't play real video games because they don't consider Sims real games, but whatever.
Yeah, that's like it has its rules. It's like complicated. I've seen people play it. I'm like, that's like, sorry, I like to watch you play it, but I don't want to have to know what is going on.
Fair.
But I wanted to talk to you about this is my favorite book that you have written, Anything Once.
Well, thank
Like
you.
the premise, if you guys have not read this book, like please do so. I know your Desert Rose hookup series is probably like the most buzz one on BookTube, but I absolutely love this one even more so than that series. Like this one is so good. So in this one, we have established married couple and they're basically trying to reignite the sparks in their relationship, and they do it in a very interesting way. So where did this book idea come from? Because it is you don't see a lot of established marriage romances out right now.
Right. Well, I write normally I say I write contemporary or steamy contemporary. And I hadn't really written an erotic romance. And the difference to me is the sex journey is as important as the relationship
Hmm.
journey. So that's how I distinguish erotic romance from your typical contemporary romance.
Hmm.
And so one of my beta readers of one of my contemporaries, they were like, have you ever thought about doing an erotic romance? And I was like, no. They're like, you should. You know, your sex scenes are fairly decent. And I was like, well, thanks. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, if the sex has to be just as important on
Hmm.
the journey as the relationship, what was best to show that? And then the idea hit me was, what if you have a couple that's been together and sort of not the romance is dead really, but kind of, you've hit that lull.
Yeah.
And I was like, that could be pretty steamy as they spice up their sex life and reconnect on different ways besides just the physical. And
Hmm.
so it was born from there because you're right. In a lot of romances, it's not typically established couples. It's
Hmm.
usually they like when they meet and fall in love and that journey.
Hmm.
But one of the taglines I had when I put that book together was romance doesn't end after I do. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to showcase what happens after the I do's if the marriage was involved or just a long term relationship. Like, is the magic still there? Have you gotten
Hmm.
comfortable? And so it was just a fun way to explore a different side of romance because it comes in all forms.
Yeah. And that's really cool because one thing that I really appreciate about this book is that even though you do have like that erotic, like you hit all those boxes in the erotic category, but you also include this really interesting like kind of like subplot line with the infertility, and it's
Yes.
actually on the male's part, which I found was even more interesting. Like, how'd that come about? Because I feel like you could have like easily have written the story, just been quick, filthy. They just try all these different scenarios and then that's it. But adding that extra layer, like, kind of made it for me like something I'm like, oh, I was like, and she handled this perfectly. I was like, some authors are like I think everyone does not like that. I think it was I can't remember. It's a book that was released a couple of years ago, and like the female had infertility issues, and then everything in like 2 pages was resolved. So everyone
Oh,
was just like, but I loved how you handled it because I never have seen a romance where it's a hero that's infertile.
well, I am a pantser when it comes to writing, so I don't plan out anything. And originally, it was supposed to just be them having lots of sex in different ways.
And it's a lot of different ways.
Right. So that was the original situation that I had in my head. But as I was writing, because like I said, I don't plan, I was writing the scene where it first comes up, where she's talking about having to step in for the other yoga teacher that went into labor.
Mhm.
And it just sort of came up. Like I was literally just writing it, and I had to stop and be like, whoa, that was unexpected. And it got real heavy real fast. So it wasn't thought out, but after I put it in, I then had to make sure as it continued on through the story that it was handled with care and consideration and deal with those emotions and how it can affect a marriage in different ways, even if you don't think it
Mhm.
has. Like it always is going to affect it in some ways, but everyone reacts differently.
Mhm.
And so as I was writing it, now that it was there, I was like, okay, now we have to like
Mhm.
think about this. How are we going to handle it? How would, how are they going to work through this when, as it came out, one of the other bigger issues in their marriage was they weren't communicating as well as they thought they were communicating. So
Mhm.
it was a lot of
Yeah.
them, oh, well, I know how this person feels, or I know how that person feels. And it was a
Mhm.
lot of that. So that's how it came up. And typically, when infertility happens, it's usually on the female side.
Yeah.
It
Mhm.
is. And so it was something else to put it like a twist on it. Like what happens from the
Mhm.
male point of view when he can't give his wife like not the one thing she wanted, but something that was a big part of what
Big thing.
she wanted from their
Mhm.
relationship as their relationship grew and progressed, and
Mhm.
how her disappointment of away and avoiding talking about it, how that affected him and his outlook. Not really. It didn't really affect his masculinity so much, but just
Mhm.
it had its own effect. But it was just interesting to watch it not be all on the female for a change
Mhm.
and see how when they have this big topic, how it can sort of fester under the surface of what looks like an idyllic marriage.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's really interesting because we see so many times in romances, like we said, it's always on the female. Like the female has this pressure to like make sure they can produce babies, and like if they don't, like I feel like a lot of times you see a lot in romances. But I really liked how you handled like he was still very much owning his own masculinity, and he knew his shortcomings, but he was still like, I still love and adore you. Like, even though I know I can't give you this, like especially when she found out about him watching porn, he was like, oh, no, 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 no. This is stuff I want to do to you. Like, he is so obsessed. And I love that he didn't lose like his sense of self while dealing with these issues. It felt like very realistic how it was handled. So I really want to commend you on that. Like, I was like going like, I was like, she did that thing. Like, she like, like, hold up. I was like, you managed to give me like a super steamy, but also like give me like in the feels too, which I was like, I felt like messaged you. I'm like, Mika, like you need to stop. Like I can't be in my feels right now. I just like am here for the smut, and then like you come with like this weighty storyline I'm like, hold up, hold up, hold up. I was like, I read this book in a day. Like, I was just like, I am in love with this so much. I read the premise. I was like, if she lets me down on this premise, like, oh my god, like it was just so good. So like, I absolutely love that. Love this book.
Well, I
Do you
well,
have
thank you.
Do you have any plans to like write more in this world?
I
Maybe,
don't.
maybe.
Um, so like even the epilogue that came out after the book was originally published was not planned. That's why it came out after the fact. But I did get messages that people were like, you kind of left that unfinished. And I was just like, not everything gets resolved, you know? And so I started thinking about it and I was like, okay, well, I can do an epilogue, but I also didn't want to put like a big giant bow, like everything's magically healed, because sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So
Mhm.
I had to think about how I wanted to handle the epilogue. And the publisher was really good when I was like, okay, so I know this book is out, but can we do this? And they were like, yeah. So I wanted to because I did get some messages. Not that they were screaming or anything, but I did
Yeah,
get a couple messages. They were like, so what happened? Like, what's next? Like, you know.
yeah.
So that's why I ended up sending out the epilogue after the fact because
Okay.
people wanted to know how they were doing. But as far as revisiting Ian
Mhm.
and Quinn, I'm not sure if I had planned on it. I
Mhm.
felt like their world was pretty much wrapped up. I don't know what else I could do with them. And I usually keep my stories pretty small. So we have their
Mhm.
friends, and I could maybe expand to show like the friends at a later date. But as of right now, I hadn't
Okay.
thought about going back to them.
Yeah, because like I feel like you just created a category that I wanted more of, like established couple romances. I was
Oh,
like, I didn't think I needed that until I read this book, and I was like, hold up. I'm like,
I do
I
plan to write
actually
more
like
of
that.
those eventually. I do want to revisit those because I liked that aspect of because it's a
Mm-hmm.
different thing to explore. So I do want to write more established couples
Mm-hmm.
because it is a different way to explore the romance.
Yeah. And then also I wanted to talk about your Desert Rose hookup series. Like I was like, when I found out the first no, first is a series of novellas. In case anyone has never heard of it, I will butcher the titles, but I know there's three novellas. I know Being Merry and Being Hospitable are two of them.
Mhm.
The third one is like lost my mind, but there's
Being
I
cordial.
know one thing. Sorry,
It's being cordial,
Being Cordial.
right?
I was like, that's the second one, I believe,
Yeah.
right? Yes. Okay. It's weird that I forget the second one because the second one was my favorite. But I remember the first one and the third one, and I'm like, what was the middle one? What was the title of that one? Like Being Married? I was like, no, that's the third one. I'm sorry, like I'm really bad with like names, characters, plots, and everything. But one thing that really attracted me to this book because we get like an FF novella,
Yes.
which is something that I don't like. I feel like in general, you don't see a lot of like authors writing anywhere outside of just like the normal male female couple. So when I got this book, I was like, hold up. I was like, now I need to read more FFS as well. So where did this idea for these like three books come from? Do you always had this on this idea because you were more on like the full length side of a little bit with like Fiendish and I know there's another fairy tale dual. There's another fairy tale book I know that you have, and then a novella, and then you kind of shifted more into the novella space. Was that a conscious decision, or did you just feel like the story like really was best told in that length?
Okay, so with the Desert Rose, there's four books total. There's three that I put out that were indie books, which is the Being Hospitable, Being Cordial, and Being Merry. But what kicked it off was Being Neighborly, and that one is published through Karina, through their Dirty Bits.
Oh, though I didn't realize those were connect. Oh,
They
okay,
are. They're
okay.
in the same world, but because the Dirty Bits line is no more with Karina, I published the other ones independently. But they were all it was supposed to be a one-off. But the original one being Neighborly, which is what technically kicked it off,
Mhm.
Karina for their Dirty Bits had a list of tropes, and they had a um, word count limit. 25K max. And like you mentioned, Fiendish and the book that goes with it, Not Broken. If you read them, you know they're super long.
Yes.
Super long.
I like looking at the page count for Fiendish. I was like, because I already read everything else, and I was like, hold up. I'm like,
That
this is like almost 400 pages. I was like, Mika, you're killing me.
that happens when you're a newbie writer and you hadn't found your squad yet.
I was just like, I just like all of the books. I was like, oh, this can't be that long, and I'm like, 400. I was like, oh.
Yeah, look, I admit my beginnings, and Fiendish is my very first book, and I
Mhm.
would just say I didn't really know what I was doing. But when I went with the dirty, I originally wrote Being Neighborly. It was my first time writing a book with the intention of sending it to a publisher.
Mhm.
So I wrote that based on the list of tropes that they wanted to see for that line, and then within their word count.
Mhm.
And after that, I was like, well, I wanted to write an FF, and I was like, well, I'll just tack on another book in this world and just make it within the neighbors, because what connects that series is the Desert Rose Station, which is the community. I got kind of like I don't know if you're old enough to know about Melrose Place.
Yes, I
Okay.
feel like I'm gonna say I know the reboot, not the original.
Right. Well, I was thinking about it sort of, and that was sort of like in the back of my mind, sort of like Melrose
Mhm.
Place. You know, the neighbors were all sleeping together and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah.
was how I sort of connected the hookups.
Mhm.
And so I was basing it off the tropes, and then I just sort of went from there. So with Being Neighborly, it was the voyeurism trope, which would kick that one off. And then with Being Hospitable, it was the best friend sibling
Yep.
trope, which is also kind of a friends to lovers thing because Kiki and Charlie were also friends.
Mhm.
And then with Being Cordial, it was like the enemies ish to lovers because
Yes.
they were rivals of sorts.
Mhm.
Didn't really get along. And then what Being Merry, it was following the Grumpy Sunshine situation.
Mhm.
So, and I
Yeah.
just want those stories short, tight, steamy, angst free, or super low angst, and just like a fun, quick read.
Yeah, and like I realize more now with romance, I tend to like picking up the novellas. Like especially when I'm in between other books, because sometimes I just need like an author like you who like just give me exactly what the premise is. There is not all that fluff. I don't have to go through all that necessarily like I like him, but he doesn't like me, but I don't like her, but miscommunication. An ex shows up. I'm like, come on, like let's just I know what I'm here for. I know what I want. And then being neighborly, I was just like, Mika, this opening scene, I was like, I was not ready. I was not ready because I think I read being hospitable first. I was like, oh, I really like this. And that was the one I grabbed it on audio because it's on audio, which I was super excited about. I do have a question like after I finish my thought, but I read that first and I was like, oh, I like this. Is like a really nice amount of steam. I love the chemistry between our two main characters, and I love that I haven't read a ton of FF, especially featuring black characters. I was like, I need more diversity in terms of the romance. And I like when authors are not afraid to like tell different types of stories. So I really want to commend you on that. But then being neighborly, I was like, that opening scene, I did not expect it to be like as as it was. I was like, I was reading it. And I was like, oh, I was like, I wasn't ready. I was like, maybe give me like a chapter or two to settle in. And this one was just like, boom. I was like, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love this whole entire series. And will we be getting more audiobooks in this series?
I would like to do more audiobooks from the author side because I'm indie. Paying for them is not cheap.
I
So
know, I know, I know.
that is definitely a deciding factor. But I would like to do more audiobooks. Phoenix McKay, who's the narrator for Being Hospitable,
She's amazing.
she did a great
She's
job. Like when I
amazing.
listened to her, I was just like, yes, this is it. And I can be sensitive to sounds and noise. I think 'cause I have kids, and so I don't want to
Mhm.
listen to voices all the time. But like when I read hers, never once I'm like, okay, I need to pause and come back. I could just like sit through it. So she did a great job, and I would definitely like to have more of my books in audio. So I have definitely been thinking about it and trying to figure out how to work the budget to make that happen.
So you guys, for everyone watching this video, go and buy all her books so I can get my audiobooks. Like, please make this happen. Like, we already got one. Now I just need this one.
Well, I have no
I,
control over that one, sadly. That's through my publisher,
oh
because
no.
that's through Limitless, and they have the audio rights to that one, so I have no control over that one, sadly.
Dang it. I was wondering if she had one for this one because this one will be so good on audio. Like, but then I'm happy if we just get the Desert Rose hookup. I want being neighborly and then being cordial up first. Like, I need those two in audios. Those
I
are,
also have
whew.
no control over being neighborly. Also a publisher. Sorry. I can see what I can do about being cordial, though. Being cordial and being
Okay.
neighborly, those are mine, and I have the control over those. But with
Mhm.
being neighborly, that's through Karina. I have no control of the audio there. And then anything once is through Limitless, and I have no control over the audio there, sadly.
Oh, but at least we get two FFs because yeah, being Mary is an FF if
It
I
is.
remember.
Yes.
I didn't want to like seem like I didn't like I read the book that you guys like do not come for me. You guys know like I'm really bad at remembering stuff.
It's fine. I am
Someone
too.
could someone could ask me like like I could read a book and they're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Yeah, they fell in love. Yeah, there was some steamy parts." And then someone asked me a spoiler. I'm like, "Wait, that happened? That character was introduced?" Like I swear I read it, but then like it just goes like it just like gets dumped right out of my head, and I just remember all the things that I loved about it, which is I can't even describe it. I'm like I don't even know why I'm a booktuber if I can't remember these. I should take notes, but I'm like,
When you're in the moment,
nah.
it's like too much
Like
studying then.
even if I'm in the moment, I'll be like, what did I write here? Like main character does what to what. But I also wanted to talk to you about your upcoming release. Probably when this video is published, it'll already be released, but it's an older couple. The title is, I can't remember the title right now, but I know it started off to like a small town, kind of cozy
Yes.
romance type series with older characters.
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit more about that new series?
Right. So, Renovation of Love, that's the title. It is book one in my Love on Madison Island series, my first planned series, because those other ones were not planned. This is my first.
But they're amazing nonetheless.
Well, thank you. So it is an older, all three books will be with older characters because something else you don't see a lot of.
Oh,
They call it seasoned romance, but mature, grown and sexy romance for me. So it is following three friends. The first book is Cynthia, her story. It's a second chance romance. She moves back to Madison. It's a fictional town. I mashed together Savannah and Tybee Island to make a fictional place.
ah, nice, nice, nice.
So it is a second chance romance with Cynthia Marshall, and her love interest is Marcel Lewis. They were middle school to high school sweethearts up until she just left town one day, broke his heart, and then was gone for 25 long years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're older, so it's more than that 10-year.
You're like, it's not just 5 years ago.
Right. They
Yeah.
were older. They have lived their lives, did their things, but she moved back after getting laid off from her job. She was downsized out of her position. So she moves home. Her aunt, who had passed, left her a house, and she's getting it renovated to turn into a B&B. And Marcel is the construction man on the island.
Oh,
So they're forced to work together. And then they will confront demons.
romance goal.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're forced to work together, and then they have all these feelings that were left unresolved and feelings that they realize are still there. You know how second chance go.
Hmm.
And in the end, of course, they're going to fall in love, but we'll also meet a cast of characters. Her friend Regina, which will be in the second book, and their third
Okay.
friend, who's Irene, will be also moving back. And she'll be moving back to town as well in the third book, and it's also that one's going to be a female as well. The third book will be.
Yes.
So it'll be,
Yes.
well, they're all going to be older women. They're 43ish, 44. age
Mhm.
range, and their love interest is all about the same too, except for in book two, Regina is older woman, younger man, so she snacks
Ooh.
firefighter.
Okay, okay, okay. I see what you're doing there. Like, I'm so hyped about this series. Like, I can't wait. I pre-ordered it. I'm waiting for it to land on my Kindle. Like, I feel like you're just doing so much excellent work by and just like going in spaces where you don't see a lot of romances going in general. You don't see older characters. You don't see established marriage romance. You don't see a ton of like FF romances being published. I know there's some, but you definitely do have to do your own deep diving to like find those titles. I would say MM,
Yeah.
besides like the normal heterosexual romance couples, that tends to be like the number two. But then there's like whole problems with that as well, like where like female authors doing like sometimes where people think they're fetishizing those types of relationships and like tropes. But I really love the work that you're doing with FF, and I cannot wait to read these books. Like I was gonna nag you. I was like, can I get an arc? Can I get like a advanced copy, like so I can read this? Because like and question, will it have your signature Steam? Are you gonna? You're not changing it up on us, and you're not doing closed door, right?
Oh no, there's no closed door. I said grown and sexy romance. These old folks are gonna get it on just as much as the young ones do.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Because like, I was talking to another author, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking of making it in this like closed door," and I'm like, "What?" I was like, "That's like the one thing you can do to make me throw my Kindle." Where you say they started kissing, and then next chapter, the next day, I'm like, "Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Wait,
No,
what just happened?" I was like, "Did Mika just do that to me? Like, did she really think she can get away with that?"
there is still steam. There's no closed door. They definitely have the heat level, and
Mhm.
it's not just it still my signature sex. So
And
there
how are they releasing? Are they releasing like one every month, or
no,
are
I don't
you,
write
there's gonna
that
be some
fast.
padding?
I'm sorry. I don't write that fast. So the first one comes out in March, so it'll be on the
Mhm.
20th. The next one will be out in June, and then the third one will be out in September.
Okay, good. I have some breathing room.
I
I
need
have some
you to
authors like
write.
book every week. I'm like, I can't. I'm
No,
like, I can't keep up.
I don't write that fast, so I can't do that. So no, they are. That's the release schedule. Long as the brain power sticks with me, that's what we'll be. That's what we'll be getting. So yes, that's what we're dealing with. So only a couple more days, and then we'll get renovation will be out. But yes, I will send you an arc, no problem.
Yes, yes. I'm so happy. Like I can't wait to read it. Like everyone who knows like who has been on my channel and watched me, like I'm tend to like only be audiobooks. So like for me to like want to like pick up like an author, I have like a couple authors that like I will like including you. I'd be like, oh, they don't have audio, but I'm still going to read it. And I'm still going to enjoy it because some like Fiendish, I was like, Mika, I'm gonna have to put that one on the back burner because that one is long.
It's
I was
okay.
like,
No, it's fine. It is long. It is really
I was just like anything once, like I ended up loving it, but I was like 200 pages, like oh,
and that
I don't know if
was for writing short.
I don't know if I could do it. And then all my other friends are just like, really, it's only 200 pages, like stop complaining. I'm like, but it'll take me so long to read it.
But
And then I read it and I can't put it
well,
down.
so be prepared that all the Madison Island books are going to be full length. So
Hey, as long as we get the steam in, I'm fine. Like I'm fine. Like I just need to know that you're not gonna like do like I want to try something new and do like closed door romances on y'all.
no, I won't do that. I do try new things, but that's just like the storylines or the tropes or like dealing with the older characters, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
But I will always have some kind of steam happening.
Yeah. Yeah, was that something when you were kind of planning out the series you wanted to do older characters, or was it just something that you kind of decided as you were kind of creating the series?
No, with this one, as I actually did try and plan out the series, I knew I wanted to do the older characters because
Hmm.
I'm a lady in my 40s. I,
Hmm.
so I wanted to do that age category because, like, just because you're older doesn't mean you don't have new experiences to factor in life,
Hmm.
new changes, new challenges, because each of the women will have their different challenges that happen with you know, which brings them that they have to work through on top of falling in love.
Yeah.
So it's just to show that no matter you don't always have your shit together. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Like this channel's not for kids. Like I'm like I turned that off on YouTube a long time ago. I was like, we're talking about romance. We're all adults here. Like I was like, go ahead.
Yeah. So right, I just wanted to showcase that even at a certain age, you don't necessarily have your life together, or you have to start over. Like you said, Cynthia lost her job; she's starting over, and
Hmm.
so I wanted to showcase that when I was doing this, and just let you know, just because you're, especially with women, people have that. If you're over 30 or whatever,
Hmm. Like
you know,
you're no longer desirable.
right. So screw that.
Mhm.
And I want to show that
Mhm.
they are. And they do more than lights off, in the dark, missionary sex, whatever. So,
Nice. Because I feel like a lot of romances like oddly like to have the female like around 17 turning 18 and like a 30-year-old hero. Like I've seen that so many times where like the heroine like they go, "Oh yeah, she was just 18,
no,
never had sex." I was like, "Come on,
I have a kid
like
that
do
age.
something different." Because if that was reversed, everyone would be like, "No, this is not realistic. We don't want an older female and like a younger 18-year-old dude." Like
Right.
you just don't see that trope, but it's like okay that you can flip that and reverse it on females, and then yeah, I feel like most females in romances tend to be like 18 to like 25. Well, like they're definitely under 30. I think I
Right.
haven't read a ton where they're in their 40s and they're still like depicted as like real human beings that like still can get it. They can still have love and still have everything. So like that's really really cool. They're
Yeah.
gonna be doing that.
Yes, that's exactly. So that's what I wanted to bring to. And I feel like you're going to like Regina and her attitude. She's in book number two. I feel like you're going to.
It's okay. I like it. I like a character with some sass. I like a character with some sass.
Yes,
But
definitely has
will
some
you
sass.
be? Will you ever think you're going to delve into like Minaj or MM?
I don't think I'll do MM
Okay.
because when I was thinking about writing my first same sex romance,
Hmm.
I was like, what, as you said, what you see mostly is MM. If you have a pairing,
Hmm.
that's like the most common one. And I was like,
Hmm.
there's enough of those out there.
Hmm.
So that's why I decided to go with, to do the FF instead. And I want to
Hmm.
stick with that. Like, there's plenty of people out there writing MM, they're writing great MM, and I
Hmm.
don't need to get in that pool.
Hmm.
So I will
Hmm.
stick to my FF pool.
That's good because like I need like authors that I can trust their FF because I still feel like as a genre it really gets kind of overshadowed by like the Minaj or because even Minages tend to be MMF and if they do tend to skew in like the LGBT direction is usually the two males. I can't remember seeing like a lot of FFM. It's
Right.
usually two males, one female. So like even that, like that was gonna be another question I wanted to ask you. Do you ever see yourself kind of going to the Minaj territory and
I
getting your feet wet into that?
I thought about it in the back of my head, but then I'm like, that's a lot of limbs to keep up with. I'm just saying. That's a lot of body parts to keep track of and who's doing what and how they're making it together. Uh, there are authors who can do that great. I know, like Katie Roberts, he excels at the situation. But I'm just like, I don't know if that's quite my skill set yet. I'd have to like start small and work my way up to it. But I have thought about it, attempting
Okay.
it, to see how it work out. So I won't say never. I just don't know
Okay.
when.
Okay. Yeah, Katie Roberts is probably like one of the best who does menages. I
Yes.
don't I don't know how she does it, but like you can easily like depict, like you can visualize exactly what is happening and it all makes sense. And you're just like, how does she come up with these like what is and then I was like, wait, hold up. I was like, hold up, Katie.
Right. Exactly. So I will have to like work that out and see how it.
Mhm.
So eventually, I might try one, but I don't know when.
Okay. And then another question before we kind of get into some more funner questions, just like general questions about you. Can you tease, do you have anything else like planned for after the this newest series is complete with the third book coming out in the fall? Do you have anything else, like any more novellas that you may be dropping?
Um, I have lots of ideas. It's just a matter of
Okay.
like what is the noisiest when I get done with this series. So, like, I would like to go back and do another Twisted Fairy Tale, which is what Fiendish is. So,
Hmm.
I would want to do one of those. I like the novellas because these three books I'm working on now are so angsty. I'm like, I miss not having, I miss the no ache situation. So, for my own sort of cleaner, I might need to do another low angst one. So, I don't know if I would tie it into the Desert Rose books or do a
Hmm.
different sort of novella.
Hmm.
So I don't have anything concrete set just yet, but I have a couple of different things I wanted to do. I was thinking about an all female series.
Ooh,
Right.
yes,
So I was
I
thinking
need
of
that.
doing an all female series. I wrote a short story last year that was in a short lived anthology that was a Dom sub female situation. Um, yeah.
I need this short story. Like I did not know about that this existed, and now I need it. I need
Yes.
to. I'm gonna find it, and I'm gonna read it tonight.
Well, the anthology is not up anymore, so I'd have to send you the story.
Please, 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 please do.
When
Please, 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 please do. Like
I send you the arc, I can send you the story, no problem.
BDSM, FF, MM. I'm like, it just tickles my fancy. I'm like, I just love it. I just love it, especially when it's done well and it's like super steamy. I'm like,
Yes. So I was thinking about taking that short because it's only like, and when I say it's short, it's only like maybe 5,500 words. It's a short.
hmm,
And
hmm.
I was thinking about taking that and expanding it with the initial couple and then creating additional couples around that. So,
Ah,
and it revolves around the sex club that they met at.
ooh. So
So
like this has to come out after you finish your current series, or I'm gonna be anytime I mention your book, I'll be like, she's writing a da 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 series about a sex club.
certain things I
I was
shouldn't
like,
put out into the
I'm
world.
manifesting it for you. I'm manifesting it. So all you have to do is just sit down and start typing away.
Will do. Yeah. So that's I have a couple of things, but well, I guess now you've telling me I have what's next is concrete.
You guys hear it from like authors come on my channel. I make them. They tell me an idea. I'm like, that's your next book. That's your next series. Please make it happen, or or I'll just keep on reminding you to make it happen.
I will see what I can do to work on that. But that was my next thing to see how it goes because with my books, my female people get really excited about those.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, let's see what happens if I make them longer. And the last book in the Madison series, we'll see how that one does because it will be a female between a doctor and a mechanic.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, now I'm like now I'm definitely looking forward to that, and you guys should too as well if you're watching. But I also wanted to, since you say you're a very avid romance reader, I wanted to ask you who are some of your favorite romance authors, or you can answer what are your some of your favorite romance books.
Okay. You know that thing where you said you have a hard time remembering stuff when you put on the spot? Same way.
Yep.
So let's see what I can remember. So I read a lot when, but I'm a slow reader, like I'm a slow writer. But some of the most recent books that I've read that I have enjoyed, I read Reese Ryan's Second Chance on Cypress Lane.
Hmm.
It
I've
was
heard
a
that one.
second chance romance, small town. So I like that one. I read Tasha L. Harrison's Taste for Own Medicine. That one was really good. Older woman, younger man. She was getting her
Ooh.
groove back after a divorce. That's a good book.
Okay.
What else did I like recently? Oh, Kay Sterling. She does MM. She has a book or book series I really like. So I read romance, but I watch lots of action.
Mhm.
That's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
And she has a book that's kind of like Hitman almost. Like he is a hitman. It is so great. I think the first one is called In the Kill. If I get that wrong, Kate, when you watch this, I apologize. But um, yeah, the hitman is his name is Mr. Lavender. It's the best thing, and it's on audio. So you,
Oh,
so because
I
you
was
like
like,
audiobooks.
I was like, you already decided. Like, I already have other books I should be reading. But I'm like, okay. I'm like, Mika gave me an audiobook recommendation. I'm gonna read the other one too. The Reese Ryan. I heard of it. I
Yes.
seen it everywhere, but I was like, I was like, let me see. I need to see. I need to see people talking about this book before I decide to jump in on
Now, it's not super high on the steam, but it's
it.
still a
But still, it
I
gets you in
still
the
enjoy
feels.
it, right? But
Okay.
the Hitman book, it's a hitman who falls for his mark. So it's yeah, I so enjoy that. I'm like, this is so my jam because I
This is. I
action
don't know why. It's like I want to
and,
kill you, but then I fall in love with you.
and
I don't know what that says about me.
exactly. So so those are some of the ones, but it's just is that me? No. Okay. So those are
Sorry,
some of the
that was
ones that
me.
I can remember that I read lately. I'm currently reading Talia Hibbert's Ravenwood series.
Okay.
Um, I'm reading those now. Like I said, I'm really slow with reading, so those came out a long time ago, and I'm just now reading them. But yeah, those are a few of the ones that I have read recently that I have been enjoying.
Okay. And then final question. What
Okay.
are some of your favorite movies or TV shows? You can give us three. You can give us how many you want, but what are three movies or TV shows that you have been really loving in quarantine so far?
Okay, so I'm old school in this house. We still have cable. We don't stream a lot, or I don't stream a
Okay.
lot. My husband's gotten
Hmm.
into streaming. So I watch a lot of old TV. So you can catch me watching Law and Order Criminal Intent. Love that.
Okay.
I love Leverage. I will rewatch that one all the time. Kind of have a
Okay.
crush on Hardison. Not gonna lie, sexy computer geek, my jam. Um, as far as new shows though, I have been watching. Is it Prodigal Son? It's in
Oh.
season, so I watched last
Mhm.
season, and I'm in the second season now. So I liked that one, and I recently started watching Clarice.
Oh, how is that?
It's good. It picked up where, if you've seen where Silence of the Lambs sort of left off with the whole thing
Hmm.
with Buffalo Bill, it sort of picks up kind of almost after that event. And it's following her as she's dealing with the aftermath of that case and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's actually pretty interesting. So I'm liking it so far.
Okay. That's cool. See, so we got some great book recommendations from you, and we got some great TV shows that we
Yes.
should definitely go watch. I'm kind of shocked that you didn't say Law and Order SVU. That's my favorite.
Oh, I
That's like hardcore. I love me some SVU.
yeah, I watched that one, but Criminal Intent, especially the episodes that have Vincent D'Onofrio, I probably butchered
Hmm.
but his episodes especially I just liked his style and everything and
Yeah.
his the way he and Eames, their relationship and all of that. I don't know, that's my favorite one of the Law and Orders.
Oh, okay. Okay. I haven't watched Criminal Intent, so I definitely will go check that out. I'm only been SVU. That's
Okay.
like that's the only show that I can like. I'm like I love SVU. I can watch a marathon all day of SVU, even if I saw the episodes like 20 times. SVU just does it for
I'm
me.
still watching the same ones over and over again. Like I remember this episode and I proceed to keep watching it.
But thank you so much, Mika, for coming on my channel. If you guys haven't picked up her books, like you need to do so. I recommend Anything Once. That is my absolute favorite. Like, please go read this one. Give us more support, more established romances, like, and start reading some diverse romances. I know everyone wants their bully romances, and
Mm-mm.
they're like dark age gap type taboo stuff, but this is such a great book. Her Desert Rose Hookup series is a really great series of novellas, nice palate cleansers in between books, which I absolutely love. They're quick, they're dirty. I would definitely recommend Being Neighborly first if you want full on steam right at the beginning, because that one just goes there. But thank you so much, Mika, again for coming on my channel. I will link all Mika's social media information down below in the description box. And also, yes, go and buy her newest release. It should be already out by the time this video comes out. And I'll catch you guys with a brand new video.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.